You're listening to Guitar Talk with Dave and John. All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Guitar Talk. Over there is John.
Indeed. I don't need to introduce myself now.
I know. And this is Dave. And we are in show number 61 of the YouTube show. This is number 7 of the podcast. You can find the podcast on all podcast sites. And if you can't, good luck to you.
And when Dave says that I'm over there, he says, and over there's John, he's referring to me in sunny Los Angeles, California.
Yes.
While he himself is in snow and ice-ridden Boston, Massachusetts.
This
the home of the Tea Party.
Yes.
So if anybody's ever been to Los Angeles for any extended period of time, they've heard of a pastry shop called Porto's.
Where is that?
I was at a birthday. There's a couple locations. I was at a birthday party the other night, and they had a cheesecake from Porto's there.
Ooh.
Oh, let's just say I fell a little bit off diet for that morsel.
Very good. That's
oh
what
my
God,
hear. That thing was insanity.
You know,
it could have been a cheesecake from Vaughn's, but the fact that I haven't eaten any sugar in like a month and a half, it was like it could have been whatever.
There's no shortage of
phenomenal
cupcake shops in LA as well.
That whole thing seems to have kind of tapered off.
Yeah.
Right around the time that you left here, that was like booming. There was a proliferation. It was like cupcake shop on every corner. Not really like that right now.
Well, I think the 3 big ones are still there. You have Sprinkles in Beverly Hills that's still there.
Sure.
There was that one that's across from the B of A on Centinela. God, I can't remember.
Right. You're talking about hotcakes.
Yes. Are they still there?
They've expanded, but they're not just a cupcake shop. They do like everything.
Right. She was like French. Yeah, that was a good place.
It's really good. They do a couple of things very well. We live so close to that place,
There's another place, I think, Vanilla on
Wilshire. I think that one's gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Either that or I don't live in Santa Monica anymore, and I never drive down Wilshire. One of the two.
Right.
I'm like, there's no more cupcake shops, and it's like, yeah, in your neighborhood.
Right, exactly. I was going to
live in a residential area. Oh yeah, I forgot.
But I do want to let you know there is a burger place in Glendale that I watched some video on that must be visited. It's called like Hamburgers Never Die or something like that, but it looks very interesting.
Hamburgers may never die, but cows do in the process.
Yes, and they die for a just cause.
Right, unless, of course, we're talking about the Impossible Burger, in which case, was it ever even alive? It's laboratory grown, right?
It's funny you say that because this week I've been watching this guy. He does puzzles. He's big into solving puzzles on YouTube. And every week he's like, this week I solved the impossible, and he names whatever it is. And it's like, yeah, it's not impossible by definition of you solved it. It's driving me batshit. I'm like, could you say it's very difficult or once thought impossible? Because the mere fact that you videotaped yourself solving it proves to the world that it's not impossible.
Right. And you are a stickler for proper nomenclature.
Yeah. and diction. Yes, exactly.
Indeed. By the way, you are listening to Guitar Talk with Dave and John.
You would have no idea.
Right. So anyway, I had to bring up the fact that we are bi-coastal this episode.
Yes.
That's all I got for you folks. We've got on the program for you today. We've got the best of 2019 New Gear Edition.
And possibly the worst of 2019.
I vote for this show as the worst of 2019.
It's up there. It really is. Well, if you're listening and you haven't turned it off, what is wrong with you?
I hear guys right now, all the guys in the Midwest and Canada that listen. They're talking about cupcakes right now. Fuck. How long is this episode going to be?
Okay, so we just jump off the diving board here right into the deep end and say I found it odd that Taylor came out with a new body shape for this year.
What did they call that?
Is it the Grand Pacific?
Grand Pacific.
The 17, which they've
Mhm.
given it that number.
Mm-hmm.
The
Okay, yeah.
I don't
That was only this year?
I think so.
Okay.
The 717E was new this year, maybe.
Why don't we say that Taylor released, and this is the best of somewhere between the last
10 years.
365 days and 365 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, we don't know.
I have no release,
The
but
Grand Pacific,
the Grand Pacific.
made by Andy Powers, I'm assuming.
I think so. I think I saw that name.
Yeah, I think Andy is their latest master builder and designer.
He
And I
stepped
think
in,
I think he's been doing it now for about 5 years or so.
and did he replace Larry Breedlove?
Um,
Or was Larry
was
left before that? He went to
was Larry the master builder, or was he the production manager in house?
I thought he was the master.
He might have been. I don't know. I apologize to Larry if I am diminishing his role there at Taylor.
Yeah.
But yeah, Andy definitely is now, and he has been for a while. Have you met him before?
I have not.
He's a good guy, very nice guy. I've met him a number of times, and he was always very cool. So
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to see somebody that's actually in control of such a large sort of operation with that much responsibility that, maintains being a cool guy.
Yeah.
Working in the world of musicians, you start learning, like, you meet these guys that are super talented and they're always a little off. It's almost like, in order to be like a talented and successful musician or actor or whatever, you got to have a touch of on the spectrum in you.
Boy, when you say that, there's like 5 guys that jump into my mind immediately. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's not intended to be mean. I almost think that there's something to it. I really do. I think, like, boy, some of these guys, it's like you gotta be a little messed up. Like, there's no way Elon Musk is a totally normal dude like you and I.
No.
Or I don't know how normal you are.
Yeah, that's true too. But you know what frustrates me, though, about what frustrates me about the whole Taylor coming out with the 717E or any 17 model in general is they suffer from Fender syndrome. And Fender syndrome is a new disease that I'm now coming up with for this show. You heard it here first, folks.
Oh, I was diagnosed with FS.
It's Fender's syndrome. So they come out with a new body shape, but every other appointment is the same.
Now, did this new Grand Pacific thing have that new bracing set that they developed?
I believe.
Okay. Because that's relatively new for them within the last 5 years, I think.
What I'm referring to is picking up the guitar. You have a C neck, 1 3/4 nut width, ebony fingerboard. It's all the exact same appointments. Like, it's not like we gave you guys a baseball bat, old vintage Martin neck. This guitar actually has a vintage look to it. It looks nice. I would have liked to have seen a big V-neck. No surprise from anybody who's listened to this show. But the guitar company basically makes all vanilla. They make the same exact appointments. We've tweaked the body a hair, and we call it a new model. And now you're going to have to suck the wind and get exactly the same appointment. So basically all they're saying is we've come up with a new body shape and that's it. It's not really a new guitar.
Yeah, they're not saying if you like a different feel, we're going to give it to you, because they're not, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
What do they offer? Did they offer a custom shop at all? Like, if you wanted to call them and say, I'd like to order this guitar, but I'd like it with a V-neck from your Bluegrass series.
Yes.
You can do that.
Yes.
And are they going to say, okay, it's custom shop, so therefore it's automatically 25% more?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that stinks. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
That's how most of these companies operate. It's like, we can take care of you, but you're going to pay twice the price for it.
But the thing with Taylor is this, and here's my point about it, is with the 7 series, well, let's just say the 7 series. We're going to go with the 7 series, folks. So those who do not know, the 7 series is going to have the dot inlays. It's very, what would you call those appointments? Very conservative appointments. It is a rosewood, solid rosewood back and sides with a gloss, basically the same as the 8 series, except it's just without all the flashy appointments.
Right.
On certain models, they put cedar as a top in certain models of the 7 series. But let's just refer to the 7 series for a moment and say
the 7 series also always had either cedar or Engelmann spruce.
yes,
right?
Yeah, depending on the model.
Yeah, I think for the most part it was that Engelmann spruce.
Yeah,
I think because then you moved to the 800 and it was the Adirondack spruce. I think.
Right. You have the 16, you have the 14, you have the 12, you have the 10, and you have the 15. 5 models, folks. Every one of them with the same feeling neck.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were somebody who wanted to play, say, a different style or a different feeling guitar, Taylor has no interest in your business. They basically just want to make another guitar that fits that Taylor buyer.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to trying to bring in their fan base or their popular base. And then, of course, they're going to say, well, you can custom order that, or, yeah, okay. But like I said, they're very much like the way Fender handles it. I think it's a mistake.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but at the same time, to like play the devil's advocate side of it, if they were to offer you a different neck on any one of those models, the buyer's going to say, well, can I get that same neck on this, on this model with, the 15 body instead of the 14 body or whatever. And the next thing you know is you go from having 5 guitars to having 10 guitars that you have to manufacture.
That wouldn't be a problem if you've now increased your fan base to that. See, what happens is you have people that have money and they go see a Collings guitar. And let's say somebody goes and picks up a DH2 or D2H, I think it's called. And you pick up that Collings. That Collings is going to cost you somewhere between $3,600 and $4,000. That Collings is going to have a V-neck. It's going to have a 1 3/4 inch nut. And if somebody were to say, ooh, let me compare this to this new Grand Pacific by Taylor, this feels really nice. It's in a similar price, but I love the way it feels.
Does the D2H come with a C-neck option?
No.
Okay. So what if a guy's like, I hate the feel of a V-neck?
Then he doesn't buy that Collings. He buys a D2. The D2H with herringbone is the vintage style, so they put the vintage V-neck.
Mm. So you're getting the herringbone, you're getting the forward shifted bracing, probably the whole thing. Okay. And then you go to the D2. And so this is kind of like their take on D28 and HD28V.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. And that's another example that supports your cause right there, D28, HD28V.
Mm-hmm.
Well, both of them are built differently. What you're saying is that you cannot get an H, I don't know, call it what you want.
Yeah.
An H 714V. You can't get that.
That's right. They're not offering that because they are more concerned with this is how Tailors feel. Mm-hmm. And I've played a V-neck Taylor, and they're great. They feel great.
They so they'll charge the customer 30%, whatever the custom shop upcharge is. But if you have a store connection and you talk that store into stocking a dozen of these models over the year, then you'll be able to get it for the price that is more appropriate, because
And
They consider it
I did that
a
at West
limited ship
before
model. Yeah,
I left,
I got it. All right.
with Billy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's like so much of this industry, which is part of the reason I think why, and we've talked about this a lot. It's part of the reason why there's room in this industry for so many like boutique builders.
Yes.
We've talked about it with Fender. Fender's a great example. They leave room for a company like John Suhr to be able to make the classic, or for, I mean, Grover Jackson and Dave Friedman to do the Friedman line of guitars. And you can get anything you want on that Friedman line of guitars without a custom shop upcharge, because all of it is, it's like pick your feature, what you want in this particular thing. And it's all going to come in less than Fender Custom Shop. Same thing with the Suhr models. I think that the classics and the classic players from Suhr are less than a custom shop Fender.
Absolutely.
I think that I don't know where Anderson comes in price wise, but my point with all these different names is there's a lot of room left open for these small builders to be able to do work, because the big companies, like, they're saying, well, we don't really have the production capability of doing this with with the profit margins we want to see.
And just to give you an example, Taylor's mentality on this, or at least how I see them looking at it, is we want people to know what a Taylor feels like. That's our signature. And I'd say this to them. McDonald's at one point broke down and started serving breakfast. And now the Egg McMuffin is one of the most famous things that you could pick up. You know what I mean? It's like you got to stretch and you got to sit there and give people what they want. And if you don't, you're right. The boutique guy is going to come in. And what's that company that used to be in Hawaii? They kind of make a Taylor feeling.
Oh, what the hell are they called? I know exactly what you're talking
It's with a
about.
G.
Goodall.
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 Exactly. It would be like in Goodall makes, and they'll do a V-neck and they do all that. I just think that when I see that Taylor came out with the same old, it's a disappointing thing, because I love the way the Taylors are, and if they ever came out with a V-neck production model, I would probably get one.
You know who I met this weekend that was actually very cool?
Who's
I met
that?
Avi Shabbat from Shabbat Guitars. Have you heard of or seen any of his guitars?
Mm-mm.
He was the first guy that Dave was working with to build the Friedman guitars. So the first like 2 years, those guitars were all Shabbat. But if you look it up now, it's Shabbat, Shabbat Guitars. They're very, very, very nice guitars. All like Strats and Tellys and different things like that, but like small build, great quality kind of stuff. And the dude that runs the shop, the Avi himself, man, he was a really cool guy, really good guy. But yeah, he's building out of West Hills, which is in the valley here.
Of course, yeah.
And
What, off Valley Road there? Valley Vista?
got me.
All right.
I don't know, but oftentimes we always say things on this program like support your local retail shop as opposed to just going into a GC and this and that. And I suppose the same thing could apply to support your local builders, your small guys.
Yeah, I mean, see what they're making. Go out and play it. Some of you guys will go and look at the specs and understand right away that it's something you would like, and others, you have to check them out. In fact, one of the guitars that I thought was kind of interesting this year was a company called Mithans Guitars.
How do you spell that?
These?
No.
Mithans.
Huh.
And they make like Les Paul style guitars. Actually, they remind me more of PRS single cuts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've never seen this. Never heard of this. I'm looking right now.
The frets are medium jumbo, but they are stainless steel.
Okay.
Um,
About Us. All right, we're gonna look this up right now.
yeah, let's see.
I went to the About Us section and okay, this is just like an old school HTML website. Everything just scrolls for you. Oh, these are all made in Slovenia. Oh. Many attractive women are made in Slovenia.
Yes, they are. And I think it's like $2,700 on the average for the guitar. But they look nice. I just think they might be priced a little high for.
Well, looking right now at the Strat style guitars toward the bottom.
Oh, I didn't even get
If
that.
you go to the bottom of the list, he's got these guitars called the Toledo, and they've totally got the Nuno Betancourt N4 headstocks.
Oh, that's excellent.
Oh, that's funny. Tree of Life inlay at the 12th fret looks cool on everything. There's something called the Raven, which looks like a John Petrucci sort of a thing. Let's see. So yeah, there's Strats and Tellys, but then yeah, I see where you're at now. There is a.
Yeah, it's called like the Berlin.
Well, I see one. Oh, he's got different names for everything, like every model. He's got something called the Valera. Looks a lot like a PRS single cut. Same thing with the Kyoto.
Yeah, the Kyoto. Yep, exactly.
There's the Berlin. Yeah. Take my breath away. Oh, sorry. Yeah, good looking stuff on the website. Anyway, okay.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. They came out this year. I just think for a brand new company, they come out a little high in the price. It's a slow roll when you're coming out with that because number one, you're going to have to find dealers, and those dealers are going to want to invest in a brand new brand whose average tickets at $2,500 to $3,000. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I wonder if this guy's looking for dealers or if he's just treating it like a custom shop and saying, this is what I have or this is what I can make. You can just order it direct.
Yeah.
Kind of like Rebel Relics.
Right.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, don't support those guys. They're not local. They're Slovenian. I'm just kidding.
Unless you're there and that's local to you.
In which case, you're not understanding a word we're saying.
That's right. So now just to bring up a dog that I think for the year is, I think the people are sick of big pedals.
Big giant pedals? Yeah.
And like the Grand Canyon by Electro Harmonix seems a little overkill for my taste.
Well, Electro Harmonix, in fairness, has a history of housing all of their pedals inside of small vehicles.
Seymour Duncan came out with a pedal called the Dark Sun. The box that it comes with turns into a nice apartment in front of Gold's Gym on Hampton Street.
I wonder if all of the RVs are still lined up right there. I think all of those RVs are lined up and down Venice Boulevard now.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, they're all over. You're going to be shocked when you come.
Yeah.
Come back to the city. It's freaking tense everywhere you look.
It's intense. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that particular pedal, I mean, form factor wise, you're against it, but have you played it yet?
I have not.
Yeah.
But it's like, even if I liked it, I'm not giving up that kind of real estate. Now, a pedal for me has to be really, really special for that kind of real estate. Even the Duelist, which was on my list of great pedals and probably the best, isn't that big. And, it doesn't take up that much real estate on the board, but it's great. And that came out this year.
Oh, it did. Okay. So that probably wins your best of 2019, I imagine.
That tops my list.
Got it. Okay. I don't know if I have a best of 2019.
Well, I think I could come up. Well, the Marshall Studio Classic series I thought was a great idea. That released at last NAMM.
That was this year too?
Yeah.
Okay. Boy, what came out this year that I actually think is really cool? What's that?
I said at least I think it was.
Yeah. I don't really know what kind of came out this year that's really, really cool.
It's hard to do the best of whatever year comes out because it's like everything melts into one another as well.
Yeah, that's part of the thing for me. I know that there's one pedal out there right now that just came out that I could kind of care less about.
What's that?
The Iridium by Strymon. Historically, I've thought all of the Strymon stuff sounds really cool.
Is that the big one?
No, it's the same size as all of their other pedals, where it's got 2 foot switches on it.
Okay,
But the Iridium is the one that is like a pedal board amp. It's a pedal board amp. It's got a well, I should say it's not a pedal board amp. It's a pedal board amp simulator. So if you were building a pedal board with nothing but Strymon stuff on it, you could use this is the one that you're going to run direct to front of house or whatever, or direct to your recording card, because it's a model of a Fender, a Vox, and a Marshall all in one pedal. It's just the Strymon version of it. So it's
right.
It's 3 dedicated amp voices and speaker cabinet voices in one pedal, just like the same form factor as all of their delays and all that stuff. And I think they sold a lot of them, but it's just one of those. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, I don't care. Yeah, I'm the wrong guy. That's all.
I'm the wrong guy, I think, for most of this shit. I mean, like the Ventura series, when that came out, I'm like, just buy a Mexican Standard and throw a new neck on it and put the parts you want on it, and fuck them with their $1,000 Mexican Strat and Ortelli.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you're a snob.
Yeah, I'd say.
That's where I'm at. So I want to love all of this stuff. Some of the guys that are really good at like faking it on their program. Oh, I love everything. Check out this, whatever, best sub $200 guitar on Amazon.
Oh my!
This thing really rips. It's like, yeah, you don't ever play that when you're not on that video,
right?
It's like whatever. Anyway, enough of me.
So, John, last week we had Joe Morgan on. He was talking to me about an amp called the Steve Wariner 22R. Oh no, it's the SW. Sorry.
Right. Well, the SW was, what was it that he said? The SW is the initials of the guy that brought him that Dumble.
Right.
So he brought the Dumble and said the Dumble is it's too valuable for me to take out on the road. Can you make me a copy of it? And Joe pulled it apart, looked at it, and said that I can make you a copy of it, and I think I can clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he did, and gave it to the guy, and so now it lives in his line as the initials of that guy, which is SW. And he has 2 iterations of it, the 22R, which is 2 6V6s and reverb, and the 50R, which is 2 6L6s and reverb.
Okay.
Yeah, so what's your question about that thing?
But doesn't he also make a SW22 without the R?
Used to reduce bloat in the line. What's that?
And might be again soon.
That's funny. This thing. Go ahead.
How is it?
The SW22R. Yeah, so I borrowed one, and it's really, really good. I mean, Joe's stuff. I've talked about Joe's stuff on this show before, like the AC40 Deluxe, the MVP 23. Like every time I listen to something that he makes, I'm always just kind of like giggling to myself. This stuff sounds phenomenal. It's crazy good. It's like take the sound that you can think of when you're thinking of a certain brand, take Fender or whatever, and then you play the Morgan's take on that, and you're like, oh, this is like the best version of that I've ever heard. Or take the AC30 and you play the AC40 Deluxe, and you go, this sounds like an AC30, but like the best AC30 you've ever played. It's hilarious. I don't know how he does it. Guy's got good ears.
Yeah, I got to check that out because I dig a clean amp. And I'll probably this year, my goal for 2020 is to start getting some of the big stuff out of here and start the smaller stuff. Although I wouldn't mind a head. I have a 2x12 that I could use, and I have a 1x12. But I do like the idea of smaller.
Yeah, the head would be the way to go.
Yeah.
So I have the combo here, and the amount of power that it comes with is just absolutely stupid. You can't get even close to winding it up at an apartment.
It's the clean though. When you put it on clean, how is it?
That's all it really is. It's like a high headroom clean amp. He designed it. The Dumble design, anyways, it was very much like a high headroom clean, and he kept it true to form in that regard. And it's got a big blooming bottom like a Fender does. It has that nice spank, from the pick attack. It's really, really good. And the mid range is nice too. It's got a mid control on it, which I know that a lot of blackface Fenders, your tone stack is not going to have a mid control.
Right.
You've got that just bass and treble control on that. So we've got a mid control on this too, and you can kind of pump up those mids and get some different sounds as well.
Now, is it true that before he was going to make a combination of the two amps, that and the blackface, he was going to call it the Bryant Dumble?
Stupid. Bryant Dumble. Didn't he have a brother that was on TV too?
Yeah.
Oh, Greg Dumble.
Yeah.
It could have been the Greg Dumble. It's awful. Let me know when you're done over there. Good God.
It's funny you brought up Anderson. Is Anderson even still making guitars?
Yeah.
They are?
Yeah. As of this year, they are. Who just closed this year? Speaking of a best and worst of 2019, I suppose the worst of 2019 is finding out James Tyler is closing his shop.
Jim's closing?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Tyler's going to be gone.
He's retiring, huh? He had a nice little shop up there.
Thousand Oaks-ish.
Yeah, I've been there.
I've never been there.
Worked there, yeah. He made some cool guitars. His problem was that ugly headstock.
Right.
With the Tyler. And then he also designed some stuff for Line 6 a couple of years back. I wonder if he's making that gravy or if he bowed out of that, because wasn't he making a USA model for them too?
They probably said, listen, James, design this guitar for us. We need a winner. You design this for us, and we're going to give you 12% commission on every model that we sell. And so he designed it. He hasn't seen a dime.
You don't think?
No, neither have they. They don't sell any of those.
And the Viriax isn't a bad guitar.
Do you remember when we were when we were stocking them at West LA?
Of course.
We never sold any of those things.
Well, that's because, but let's be fair, and Line 6 did pick up on this. The guitars they were put on were horrible.
Yeah.
And so that was the whole idea, was Jim Tyler's going to redesign a guitar. We're going to bring it to a manufacturer out there. It's going to feel like a USA guitar. But, yeah, I mean, the system, Line 6 had some good ideas. Their best idea was Strymon. Thank you, folks. Thank you. But seriously, they had some good ideas. I mean, it's like their throwaway item, the Spider, has been their biggest probably moneymaker for them.
Yeah.
And it's a throwaway.
Wasn't that how it works in the world? Like the toy Ferrari car, the amount of money that they make from licensing that car makes more money than selling a Ferrari does.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, but so Tyler had a good little shop. I'm sad to hear that he's closing.
He had some health struggles. Didn't he have cancer at one point in time?
I don't know.
I think he did. I think he came through it, but I'm almost positive that he was struggling with cancer for a while. Yeah. He came back, and I just think, he's just getting old. It's got to be hard to keep it up.
Yeah,
that's what she said.
Crazy. Exactly. He's not even that old a guy.
Mm.
Nice guy. That's too bad that Tyler's closing. I thought he had a good job. Now, LSL, are they still making guitars?
Yep.
Good for them. Good. And
LSL, from what I heard, they almost went under too.
Well, yeah, I know they struggle. That's why I asked.
Well, they had that deal. They were distributed through Sweetwater for a while, and if you notice, they're not anymore.
What happened there?
Yeah, I've got rumors. I don't know if any of them are true. I'd rather.
I have Tango in the Night. Enough about your Fleetwood Mac records that you own. What happened?
Yeah. I don't know what I had heard, and I don't take it personally if you're listening to this, Lance, because I don't know. But all I had heard was that they went through a problem that a lot of people go through with Sweetwater, which is the techs at Sweetwater start sending everything back because they pick apart the instrument. They find something that maybe they don't like about it or something, and they call it a quality issue and send it back. And Sweetwater does this to a lot of companies where, a company might be selling guitars for years, and Sweetwater will find an imperfection in the paint somewhere on the guitar,
Sure.
like a pinhole on the back of a guitar somewhere, and they'll send it back for credit. They'll say, sorry, this one's rejected. It's not, our quality team inspected it. We can't take it. And they always send back for credit. They don't send back for replacement. So when they do that to a company that's the size of a one-man operation or a five-man operation or whatever it is, like an LSL, each guitar that comes back is a huge problem.
Well, yeah. And also, I mean, so that's an interesting thing you're bringing up, because I happen to know of a few knuckleheads that buy a lot of gear online and send a lot of it back.
Yeah.
And, companies like Sweetwater, they got to deal with that. When someone complains and says, hey, this isn't perfect, and then they look at it, well, send it back, then they start going, well, you know what? You better not send out a customer something that doesn't pass our inspection. Now they're sending it right back to the, and then it's tough.
Yeah.
People have become, what's the word I'm looking for? Unrealistic in their expectations of how an instrument should come from a manufacturer brand new.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do with the prices people ask for are very high. My favorite feature on an instrument is when companies say, this has a thin skin paint. How the fuck is anybody going to know? That thing could have twice the paint the regular guitar has. You would have no idea.
That's funny. That's really funny. That's true. You ever notice, though, a guitar buyer is far more picky than a car buyer.
Yeah.
A car, you get even nowadays, even a base model car is $25,000 after taxes and everything else. So you're spending that much money on a car, but you get a guitar that's got a slight, tiny imperfection, and you're like, nope, can't have that. Gonna send that back. Dude, you look at the finish on a car, it's always got something with it. Orange peel here or whatever. I think a guitar finish is expected to be like twice as nice as a car. It's got to be like a show car. It's got to be glass.
It depends on the instrument, and it depends on the buyer, I think, because like if you were to buy, and it's when we sold Fender Custom Shop Relics, it's hilarious because you tell people don't put a ding in it because then I have to charge more because
Right.
you charge by the ding. But it's like people are like, I think Relic guitars are stupid. You should put well, let me tell you, when a guy spends an instrument and it feels like a worn-in pair of jeans and he can go out and bang it up and not give a shit, that's a guy that's really getting the actual instrument. You know what I mean? And then the guy who goes and buys the PRS, which the fit and finish will always be perfect, and then they keep it under their bed and they're afraid to take it out. They're out there playing it like a, don't look at it too hard or you might affect the finish. It just becomes nuts. I mean, I just, my guitars, after a while, we play them on stage. I get dings here and there. I can't care. I got to just go out and play.
You know what? I put a ding in one of my guitars today. It actually bummed me out a little bit.
It was the first ding.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, then what do you give it?
It was the first ding on the top.
What
No,
was
it's my Warmoth strap, my blue one that's hanging right behind my head there, was sitting next to me on the sofa. And for some reason, I'm stupid. I was feeling like my pockets are a little bulky, so I decided I was going to empty my pockets onto the coffee table in front of me because I had 2 sets of keys in my pocket for some reason. We're moving cars or whatever. And I pull both sets of keys out of my pocket. And as I pull them out, one of the sets of keys falls out of my hand and lands right on the top of the guitar. And I was like, shit. And so I picked it up and looked, and sure enough, man, it chipped some paint right off of it.
Yeah.
It landed just right. And it knocked like an 1/8 of an inch by an 1/8 of an inch chip off of it.
What's the body?
On that guitar? That's a lightweight alder.
So you can see here, let me move this. This is...
Yeah.
You see the chips?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I don't even know how they happened, but I don't even care because this is like my main guitar. And at some point, it'll probably be all beat up, but it plays great, feels great. I don't care. But yeah, no,
Plays good.
how
Looks
people are.
good. Feels good.
Yeah, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. I mean, it's just people spend, if you're spending way too much money on your guitars that you care. I mean, I guess there's two schools of thought. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
It depends on
well,
what you want to do with them, I guess.
yeah, with a guitar like that I'm never going to get rid of. Because
Yeah,
the one problem with Warmoth is there's no resale value.
sure.
But they make great stuff.
Oh, it feels
So
fantastic.
I'll keep that guitar forever because
Yeah.
I can't get anything
It's a
for it.
beautiful Strat. What are you talking about? It's great.
It is. So anyway, yeah, I'm not really. I don't give a shit. It's funny though because I did start looking at it after I noticed that, and I noticed like 3 or 4 more dings toward the bottom in the back, and I was like, well, wonder when I got those.
Do you play that one a lot?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I play the white one the most. That white Warmoth that I built with the Wenge neck, single pickup. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wenge neck is a beautiful shade of brown. If you ever have an opportunity to play a Wenge neck, you got to get one.
Your white guitar has Wenge?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Wenge's the way to go.
Yeah. That's my white one and my Koa one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's great. Wenge's awesome. I think in general, if you can put together your own instrument or at least like I just saw this Ventera series. I looked at it again and I was like, if this went for $300, it'd be worth it. Because then you could go take the neck, sell it, go. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, you can just get, what was good years ago, folks? If you really want to get yourself an excellent telly, go find an older Fender American Special. Really good looking. Take the neck off and sell it complete on Craigslist for about $150 with the tuners. And then call Warmoth and get yourself a real neck.
What you got to do with that American Special though from years ago is make sure you can get a body that weighs less than 14 pounds.
Yeah. That's some okay ones. Some of them were heavy. But yeah, I mean, they were cheap American guitars. I mean, the reason why I say the American Special was the American Special had the same bridge the Ventera has, the nicer.
It's probably the same guitar.
Exactly. One's made in Mexico, and they sold for the same price. Actually, I think the American Special was $8.99, and the Ventera is $9.99. Somehow they've suckered you to pay an extra $100 for a Mexican-made guitar.
So, to go back to your list there, what do you have as a best of 2019?
I think my best is the Duelist. I think that's what I would go with. I also think the that would be my pick of everything. The best in show.
Okay.
If you will. As far as guitars go, I think Epiphone is stepping up their game. They came out with the Joe Bonamassa Norm Burst, which I think the color is heinous. It looks like an ugly 1960s paint job from the 1960 Les Paul. In fact, it almost looks like Clown Burst. Are you familiar with the expression of Clown Burst?
No, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Clown Burst is the vintage guy term for any sunburst that has way too much like red or yellow.
Right. So you got like the black line, the red line, and the yellow.
Right.
Yeah,
it looks like Ronald McDonald will be playing it.
Right. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. So in that respect, I don't know why they came out with it. It just doesn't. I think but I think they just give Bonamassa carte blanche. Like, come up with a new guitar. The Flying V sold, the Amos one, because there's a story behind it.
Right.
And then, there are people that just that have gas for everything. I've lost that gas because I use new improved Gas X. No, and then they have Tommy Thayer came out with an Epiphone.
Oh, okay. Is it just
I thought the Tommy Thayer was pretty cool. It was like blue, It's this blue. The only thing I don't like, it's like Tommy wanted a JB. So he's got a John Bingham in the neck.
How dare you?
He's got a JB in the bridge, but the JB in the neck, he has the cover still on it, a la Jimmy Page.
Okay, got it.
Come up with your own thing, would you?
Yeah, well, I don't know what to say about that. Are there real Tommy Thayer fans out there?
No.
Or is everybody still an Ace Frehley fan?
Well, yeah, I mean, I figured everyone would be an Ace fan, and God, I saw Ace years ago and he was horrendous, but I think it's the original Kiss that people like. I guess if you like just the band, I honestly, I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you since I don't have a best of 2019 in terms of gear, I'm going to give you the John Bingham's best gear purchase of 2019.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, everybody. So it's going to come as a surprise to many of you because the Dirty Shirley should be the best gear purchase of 2019.
I agree.
Certainly the best amp purchase of 2019. But considering the price point and the impact on my psyche, the best gear purchase...
Get your Visa bill.
Right. The impact made by this here is my choice.
Ooh, classic humbucker. It looks like a pickup set. Hard to read.
This is one pickup. It's the Friedman.
Back it up. Okay, good.
Friedman Classic Plus Bridge Humbucker. I put this in my
Grover's liking those for him, huh?
And they're fucking good. They're really good. Yeah, Grover's doing those pickups. Somebody had told me months ago that the old Jackson pickups that Grover was making in the 80s were really, really good pickups. And I am like, okay, I don't know. I've never paid attention to it. Fast forward, here we are, and I've played a bunch of these guitars with these Grover wound pickups in them for Dave, and they're all good. Every guitar I've played from that shop is amazing. They all sound fantastic. And so I finally decided to replace that Thornbucker Plus that was in that guitar with this one. And it's way better. Better.
Now let's talk about that for a second. What is it about the Thornbucker you did not like that you felt you needed to change it?
So for whatever reason, the bottom end, not the top end was nice on that pickup, but the bottom end always felt squashed, like too saggy somehow. Because that Dirty Shirley back there, that's a saggy amp to begin with. It's got a tube rectifier in it. It's not like that tight kink sort of an amp. It's got some give to it. So you don't want a pickup that also does that same thing. And that's how the Thornbucker always felt through it. It made it feel too. So I put this pickup in the guitar, and it took away that spongy feeling.
Huh. Interesting. So I like the sponge, but it's all about what you like, and I'm just curious why you chose that. Grover.
I like some of it, but like I said, it was just like with my like the two pickups I had that I didn't like with that amp was the JB I didn't like with that amp, and the Thornbucker Plus I didn't like with that amp. So I replaced the JB in that one guitar with the Gibson 490, and I like it so much more through that amplifier. And then, like I said, this Friedman Classic Plus was like night and day.
Well, Grover Jackson is the perfect example of, number one, why Fender needs to expand. Well, they ended up buying out the business, but during that time, Grover was making hot rodded Strats and giving people Strats that Fender refused to make. This is also bringing up my argument for Taylor guitars as well. Also, he went to Seymour Duncan back in the 80s. And he wanted a lower price because he was buying sick volume of pickups, and he wanted a lower price. And Duncan was like, no. And so he's like, well, I know what you're paying for them, and it's absurd. And Duncan was still like, no. And Grover's like, the next day he went out and bought a machine. Started winding his own pickups because the fact it was like paying $40 back in 1980 or 84 that he could pay $5 for.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows a lot about pickups and knows a lot about all that stuff. So, I mean, it just goes to show people like, Duncan could have probably tried to work something out and prevent a competitor, and now he has a competitor all these years later. Because of that, because of, it's a basic. What's sad is this: if you're Seymour Duncan and you're making pickups in the 80s and you're selling them to a guitar company that at the time is number one or number two selling guitar in the business, and your name is on every one of those pickups, you should be paying them to put those pickups in your guitar, because that's free advertising. And when I say you should be paying them, I'm saying you should, you don't have to make your line on everything, your wholesale line. You don't have to sell them at your typical wholesale. Take a discount and write it off as advertising, because that's what you're doing. In other words, John, if you came out with John Bingham pickups tomorrow when you're winding pickups, and Dave Friedman said to you, "Hey, I'm gonna buy 1,000 a week. Can you give me a great price?" You're gonna be like, "Shit, this guy's advertising my stuff too." Yeah, you know what I mean? I just think it's a big misstep on those guys' parts, and good on Grover, and good to see he's still making stuff.
Those pickups are good, man. I gotta get you one. Do you have any guitars with a humbucker in the bridge?
I'm not taking the fret out of anything I have.
That's true. You are a Fred fanatic.
I like what I like, and it's like, for me, so I saw that Mojo Tone this year came out with a 59 PAF pickup set, and I think it was based on like a Johnny Winter pickup set, some pickup for Johnny Winter. And I was looking at it, and I'm like, $250 for a Mojo Tone set of humbuckers. F off. Come on, folks. Really?
That seems like a lot of dough.
Come on. It's just insane.
It's an electromagnet.
Like a $50 Fred. I don't know.
It's an electromagnet. There's not much to it, and everybody over analyzes the recipe. The recipe's not that complicated. It's certain size and type of magnet, certain size and gauge of wire. Pretty much all of it.
That's why my comment about the Tommy Thayer Epiphone it's like Tommy Thayer wanted the JB. Like, does he not have any sense it comes in every fucking import guitar has a JB in the bridge?
Right.
You're going to sound like every other fucking guitar.
It's
not a great pickup.
I've never found it to... I don't understand why everybody uses it. Never found it to be that great.
I don't know why everyone uses it, because they're hypnotized, because people are told Seymour Duncan makes the best pickups and that the JB's a great pickup. And it's like, well, if a JB's a great pickup, why is everybody who gets signed, who's out there with a deal, goes and has a pickup made for them the way they want it? They're not just throwing JBs in there.
That's a fair point.
Tommy Thayer opted for the JB. Why is that? Because fucking Seymour Duncan told him to go pound sand, that he was going to waste his time designing a pickup for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And no hard on Tommy Thayer. I don't know anything about the guy. Just know he's in the cover band Kiss. You know what I mean? I'm of that school of mind. I'm like, he's in the band. Yeah, they might be putting out records, but Kiss is like, I have to say, Kiss hasn't made an album since 1975. Thank you. They put out 3 records and a live album, and then they retired. Then they became a children's band. They became Schoolhouse Rock.
Exactly. You're not a big fan of the Psycho Circus?
Oh.
How about Live to Win from Paul Stanley's solo record?
I love it for one reason, and you know why.
South Park. You
know it. When Eric Cartman goes to the Special Olympics and they're playing Live to Win, that's all the joy that song can bring to you.
The fact that the fact that Trey and Matt recognize how retarded that song is, and they put it in their own show.
They're brilliant.
It's perfect.
They really
like, guys, we got to put this in the show.
Yeah.
It's that song is as close to like Robert Tepper as Paul Stanley could ever come. You know who Robert Tepper is, right?
No, the name sounds familiar. What was
He's from the Rocky IV soundtrack. There's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home.
Right. Oh.
It's a montage song. Not Montage Taylor, of course.
What was the song that was in Scarface that they used? Yeah. Oh, just absolutely brilliant. I'll tell you, so I'm just going to say some good things that I think came out this year, though. I think the Katana, the Mark II 50 watt, is a great home practice amp. And
sold a lot of them.
And if you're a guy out there who's like, I want to practice bedroom amp, but if I want to go take it out to do a gig, I can do it. That amp is it. It's as simple as that. You don't need a tube amp to go out and do all the things if you're just weekend warrioring it. It doesn't matter. I think the Marshall Studio series, I don't know how long they've been out, is a cool idea. I don't know how long the 100-watt amp's life is going to last in this cycle. In other words, it'll always come back into favor at some point when someone's like, I need 100 watts. It's funny the way Joe Morgan put it, because it's true. People want them to go in the studio, mic up 100 watts. And I mean, it's almost silly too. You can just go in. I did a session once at Conway, and I used my dual rectifier, and we went and recorded it the next night at Wow and Flutter to do the solo. And I did the solo on my Line 6 Flex Tone direct into the board. And when you mix the two together, you're like, you can't even tell what amps which. It's just nuts. And yet here we are. Here we are listening to people talk gear.
That's how it goes.
All right, John, let's call this one. Next week will be our Christmas special. We have our typical Christmas episode podcast. That'll be released on Monday, the 23rd, I believe it is.
We'll be talking about all things Christmas.
So we'll all see you next week. As always, very good.
All right, later, folks.
You're listening to Guitar Talk with Dave and John.